An 88 bill, but instead of a tip, the server received a cruel message. "You suck. I hope Trump deports you." Just one short sentence, yet it ignited a firestorm on social media, shaking the entire nation. The woman who wrote this message probably thought she would never be exposed. But unfortunately for her, the internet never forgets disgraceful behavior. Within hours, online sleuths uncovered her identity. And when the truth came to light, she lost everything: her job, her reputation, and the peace in her life. How could a single receipt destroy someone's career? And what made an entire community rally behind the hard-working server? Let's dive into the full story right now. On March 2nd, at Cella's Mexican Cantina in Mexico, a waiter named Ricardo was diligently doing his job. Everything seemed normal until Ricardo served a female customer and her family. After checking the table, Ricardo discovered an $88 bill left by the customer. But instead of receiving a tip like everyone else, he found an infuriating message written on the receipt. "You suck. I hope Trump deports you."
Apparently, this lady came in and Ricardo, who is a great person, was taking care of her. He only worked here 1 day a week, which is Sunday. He has 2 jobs.
This was not just an insult, but a direct attack on the dignity of a hard-working immigrant. I cannot comprehend how someone could do something so unacceptable. And what's even more concerning is that in Ohio, servers earn very low wages and rely primarily on tips to make a living. Yet, this woman not only disregarded Ricardo's service, but also wished for him to be deported from the United States. Ricardo remained silent and continued his work, but one of his coworkers took a picture of the receipt and posted it online. And you know what? Within a few hours, the story quickly became the center of attention on social media. The internet swiftly uncovered the woman's identity, and before long, her Facebook profile and images were being widely shared across various platforms. When Karen realized she had been exposed, she immediately denied everything. She posted on Facebook claiming, "My credit card was lost and stolen, and someone attempted to use it. Thanks for the notification." To make her story seem more believable, she added, "I have reported this incident to my bank. Thank you to everyone who informed me about scammers and account hackers." This is typical criminal instinct, always trying to deny responsibility. But unfortunately for her, the restaurant had security cameras. A quick review of the footage confirmed she was the one who wrote the racist message on the receipt. There was no way to deny it, no way to escape. She was exposed instantly. After the truth was revealed, Century 21, the company Karen worked for, immediately fired her. A company spokesperson stated, "We do not tolerate any form of racism." At this point, I bet Karen was in full panic mode. She thought she had the right to insult others without consequences. And honestly, this isn't surprising, because this is the cultural effect that Donald Trump has had on the country. Racists feel emboldened because of him. And since he is able to get away with saying racist things without consequences, they think they can too. And this story reminds me of something else. A deeply moving TikTok video that went viral on social media. A TikToker shared the heartbreaking moment when his mother was deported.
My mom just got deported. My mom just got deported. It's so not fair. It's so not fair. She's literally not a criminal. Like, she's literally just paid her taxes. She's literally just... We're not safe. No one's safe. Please. Hug your loved ones, please.
His voice trembled through tears as he said, "It's so not fair. It's so not fair. She's literally not a criminal. Like, she literally just paid her taxes. She's literally just... We're not safe. No one's safe. Please hug your loved ones. Please." It's a pain words can't fully express. Watching your mother being taken away, forced to leave the life she spent over 20 years building. She wasn't a criminal. She wasn't gaming the system. She was a mother, a law-abiding taxpayer, someone who only wanted a better future for her son. Anyone with a conscience watching that video felt a deep sorrow. They saw it for what it was, a loss that never should have happened, a pain that could have been prevented. But not everyone felt the same. In the comments under that video, some people didn't show any compassion. Instead, they mocked someone else's pain. They wrote cruel things like, "These tears don't move me at all. I voted for this. Why didn't he go with her? Pathetic. Send this brat back to his country too." Cold, heartless words, as if one person's suffering meant nothing. They didn't see a son losing his mother. They just saw an outsider, someone they believed didn't belong here, even though his mother had spent her life giving back to America. And it made me wonder, when did people lose their ability to empathize? Some folks get furious when a Karen loses her job for being openly racist. Yet those same people feel no sympathy for a mother being torn from her family, or for a son who just lost his home. The story of that Karen and the story of this TikToker are just two small examples of a much bigger issue. We're living in a society that's becoming more divided, where empathy is being replaced with indifference, where some people find joy in others' suffering simply because they look different or come from somewhere else. The story didn't just end with Karen's punishment. What's even more powerful is how the local community stood up to protect Ricardo. So many people came to the restaurant to show their support. One customer shared, "I've never been here before, but today I wanted to eat here just to show my support."
The food was wonderful. The people were courteous. Everything was wonderful. So I was in shock when I saw that story, because I literally had just come back from Mexico the day before, and kind of broke my heart.
We never expected that to go that viral or having that reactions. Thankfully, all the community has been really supportive.
This story is a clear example of malicious behavior, but we're living in an era where the internet can expose everything in just a matter of hours. If you do something wrong, the whole world will know. The days when racists could hide in the shadows are long gone. If you still believe that justice, truth, and kindness have a place in this world, don't hesitate to speak up when you witness injustice. Looking at this situation, a bigger question comes to mind. Were Trump's immigration policies really all wrong?
I think it's despicable. That's not who America is. We're all immigrants.
No one can deny that Karen was absolutely in the wrong for leaving that racist message. But that doesn't mean every immigration policy under Trump was bad. America is a country of laws, and immigration laws should be respected. A controlled immigration system helps protect American jobs and maintain order. When stories like Ricardo's come up, people often rush to blame Trump and his supporters. But if you look closer, Trump never said he wanted to deport all immigrants. His administration aimed to control illegal immigration. Many legal immigrants continue to live normal lives in the US. So using this story as a way to attack Trump isn't entirely fair. Now, what do you think about immigration after hearing this story? Did Karen deserve the consequences she faced? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss shocking stories, truth-exposing content, and powerful life lessons, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications right now. Thank you.